rib cage first. Okay? And then dig the heels into the ground and lift the hips. If they're good in that position, your partner can lift your feet. If you're not good in that position, that's okay. You can stay there. Yep. And so it's making sure throughout the whole motion that she doesn't lose that position, right? So as that comes up, everything else should come up as well, right? Once you've done that, go ahead and switch. Good. Hold, hold, hold. Nice work. Good. Good. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Nice work. Good. All right. Come on back. So learning to find that position is really important so that we can get there and not in this dumpy position. The way that people normally teach arching is through Supermen, right? Everyone does Supermen. However, how do we normally see Supermen being performed? It's normally this, right? It's this big arch position. There's no opening in the shoulder. So what am I training right now? I'm training myself to be in that dumpy position. I've tipped my pelvis forward. So if we do these, the word I teach first, belly button off the ground, and then we think long, not lift. Okay? Big difference. And so that's the stuff that comes into play when you're trying to have good movement quality in anything else that you're doing. So these are just the foundation pieces, and they certainly apply to hand balancing and some of the rope stuff, but they apply to everything, okay? So it's just connection and understanding how to use that connection without dumping into bad position. Cool? Questions? Awesome. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about are your shoulders. So we're going to work on, actually, you know what? I take that back. We're going to do some rope stuff. I'm going to get you warmed up. We're going to do some shoulder stuff in the beginning, but let's go ahead and do our rope stuff. So what we're going to do, we've got 4 stations. So normally on ropes, you know, you'll do 2 ropes. We're just going to do 1 today. But what I want to show you with the velocity segment is anything that involves waves and circles and sidewinders and whatever. But we're going to create other movement patterns with it and start moving our feet and just kind of show you some variations that you can use just to give you a little bit more creativity. Cool? So we've got 4 stations over here. Maybe make a line from that way to here and this way back so that like we can file into the rope. Does that make sense? So we've got 2 stations on each rope. And I'll need 1 person to sit on the chair, please. Thank you. All right, so jump in there. 1 person grab each one of these ropes. We've got 4 people going.
Oh, just 1 rope.
Yep, just 1 rope. Nope, not today. Just so that you guys can get a little bit more in. Okay, yeah, so 1 each there. So has anybody in here not done any rope training? All right, so you'll have some fun today. So you're not going to be on it very long. You can certainly do lots of things with this. It's very easy to pick up the movement pattern, so not to worry. We'll add some footwork and some other things to it. So again, just to kind of give you some ideas on what you can do. Now, this is a much longer rope than we would normally use. This is a much shorter rope than we would normally use, but that's fine. You'll still get the gist of what we're trying to do, okay? So first one we're going to do is we're going to try to create stability in the hip. So we're going to use the oscillation of the rope to challenge the stability of the hip. What's cool about this is if you have somebody coming back from a knee injury, an ankle injury, a hip injury, and they're not ready to do a whole bunch of lateral work, but you want to start challenging that lateral stability, this is a great way to do it. Or you have somebody that just needs to work on that. This is a great way to do it that's very safe, and you're not cutting and planting and doing all those things. So what you're going to do is stand on 1 foot, and then you're going to do a sidewinder. And sorry, I should mention this too. So for those of you who haven't done rope training, and actually most people haven't heard this anyway, the best place to stand with the rope is if you grab the rope with both hands, take a step backwards and pull the rope taut. Yep. And then take 1 good step in. And that's where you want to stand. It's usually closer than most people would normally stand. Yeah, So a little bit closer. There you go. See how then you have some play in your rope? Now the rope can move. When it's too taut, you're not going to be able to get good movement out of it. Okay? So stand on one foot, and we're going to, with both hands, create sidewinders back and forth. Go, 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 go. There you go. So we're training foot stability, ankle, knee, hip, and even core. And same thing, switch feet. And go, 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 go. Nice. And rest. So it's different, right? Challenging. So what we're going to do is we're going to cycle through. Not even everyone may even get to get on the rope today, which is fine. I just want to, you guys can see it and experience it. You don't have to try that to understand it, right? So that's a great part about ropes. Most, at least this stuff, is very simple. So it's kind of easy to pick up if you're just watching. The stuff that we're going to do next won't be as easy to pick up, but that's okay. All right, so let's cycle through. We're going to do a different exercise. So we've got 4 new people on the rope. You guys can just kind of get in a position where you can watch. Okay, this one you guys are going to all face sideways. So hold the rope with your right hand and stand to the right of your rope. And you're going to create a wave up and down. At the same time, you're going to place 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. You're going to create a wave and do an in-place split squat. Okay, are we ready? And begin. So wave and squat, yep, and then just go up and down in your split squat, yep, exactly. So now we're having the legs and the arms do 2 different things at the same time. So it's also good for your brain. All right, and then let's turn around, face the other way, same thing. And begin. Doesn't really matter which leg, nope, they're just different. Awesome. All right, and rest. Okay, next group up. Okay, you guys are going to create a wave, and then you'll either march or jog in place at the same time. And not, hopefully not at the same pace as your wave, but the feet are moving separately from the arms. Okay? Make sense? So start your wave, up and down, both arms, and then you can start with a march. And then you start, right, jogging in place. You can make this a sprint if you want, depending on the ability of your person you're working with. Yep. But you get some of the most coordinated people all of a sudden have no coordination on an exercise like this. All right, and rest. Awesome. Good job. Okay, next group. 4 more up. Okay, you guys are going to sit. Yes. And what you'll do is you can sit cross-legged, or you can sit with your legs out, but your knees bent just enough that your toes are kind of pushed down a little bit. Yep, just like that. And maybe not even quite so high. There you go. And what you're going to do are crossovers. You're going to slam the rope. You may want to slide over to the side just a little bit. You're going to slam the rope from one side to the other, back and forth over the legs. Yep. And don't let it stop. So as soon as it hits the floor, it comes right back up. So don't let it pause. Hit and go. Yes, there we go. So we've got rotation power, right? We've got core work. You can lean back a little bit, that's fine. And that's what you'll find with rope training, guys, is that on most exercises, everybody will have an individual movement pattern. And as long as we're in safe positions, no big deal. That's fine. All right, and rest. Awesome, thank you. Okay, next 4. You guys are going to do a circle. And as you do your circles, you're going to squat up and down. Oh, that's okay. You'll be all right. Yeah, there you go. Circle and squat, circle and squat. Yeah, see, you got it. So stand a little closer. There you go, right there. See how it's smoother?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Try going the other direction with your circle. All right, and rest. Excellent. Okay, next group up. All right, you guys are going to go wide stance. You're going to go back to that Sidewinder that we did first with the balance in the one leg, and you're going to sink into a side lunge and go back and forth. Okay? And go. Yeah. So slow down the lunge. Yep, and remember, make sure you're standing close enough to your rope that there's some slack in the rope. There you go. So relax the arms. Let them flow out in front of you. That's better. Nice.
Have you been doing it right?
Yeah, you're doing great. And rest. Awesome. All right, who's next? 4 more. We'll get through all you guys. This is perfect. All right. So 2 and 2. All right, so you guys are going to start with a wave. You're going to go down to your knees and back to a stand. Okay? And go. Fast wave. Fast, 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 fast. Awesome. So stand a little closer. Come closer, closer, closer. There you go. That's it. Yeah. All right, and rest. Good job. All right, you guys are going to side step. So we're going to go back to that circle, and then you're going to side step left, side step right. Okay, go. That's it. That's it, that's it, you got it. You can change the direction of your circle. All right, and rest. All right, one more group, I think. You guys are gonna sit with a straddle position. You can bend the knees if you need to. We got 2 more ropes over here. You guys can jump in there. There you go, perfect. All right, so straddle position, you guys are just gonna wave in a straddle position. So you're just up and down, trying to still get your rope to get the wave all the way to the end. There you go. Nice. That's a long rope, too. All right, good job, guys. Awesome. Okay. So it gives you some variation, at least, on things that you can do in the velocity segment, right? So it's not you just stand there and do waves and circles. That stuff's great, too. But once you start adding all this other stuff, waves and circles become really easy in relation to as many other things that you can do. So the ropes can do anything your hands can do. So you can create your own movement patterns, move your feet different ways. If you're outside especially, you can loop the ropes together. So just put the 2 ends together and the ropes go out. Does that make sense? And then you can go anywhere you want. So you can shuffle across the field, you can go in a circle, you can do all kinds of fun stuff. So lots of great ways to increase that difficulty. So I just at least wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit. What I want to show you now is one of the segments of training that most people haven't seen before, and it's really hard. We actually haven't even really put it out as education. We do it in our course, but it's got to be done hands-on, because when you watch somebody do it when it's done right, it doesn't look like they're doing much of anything, so you don't really appreciate what it's doing until you actually get on and try it. So we're going to do that today. So this is called the push-pull strength segment. So what the idea is you are always going to be pulling the rope away from the attachment point so that the length of the rope is completely off the ground from where you're holding it to where it's attached, okay? While you're holding the rope off the ground, you're then going to move that rope through a range of motion. So we're going to start with just an overhead press, and then we'll go from there, okay? So in one rope, it's like you have a complete rack of dumbbells. So the closer you stand to the attachment point, the lighter the dumbbell. The farther away you stand, the heavier the dumbbell, okay? So Most people are going to start at least partway up the rope, because usually, even with my strongest guys, especially now this is a shorter rope, but like on a normal 50-foot rope, which is what we would normally use, even most of my strongest guys can't get to the end of the rope and actually keep the whole rope off the ground and press. So for me, then that puts one rope. Almost anybody can find a position that's going to be an appropriate challenge for them. Okay? So what you're going to do is you'll grab from underneath, just like you're pressing. But here's where you're going to start. So I want my hands at shoulder height. So if I were going to do a dumbbell press, I've got my hand right above my shoulder. I want it at the same height, but out in front of me. Okay? So it's not going to be down, but it's going to be at that same height. I want my rope on the floor. Okay? So this is where I start. From here, I'm going to anchor my hips, which is not the same thing as leaning back. Okay? So I anchor my hips, and then with my strength, I pull the rope off the ground. Now, here's the key. If my elbows go backwards, I've done it incorrectly. See how my shoulder turns forward? I want to create good stability in my shoulder girdle. So what I'm going to do is keep my elbows under my wrist, make sure I'm not leaning back. I'm pulling the entire length of rope off the floor, and then I'm going to press up overhead. You will see that rope go forward, and because since we're not going against gravity per se, it doesn't matter if it's forward because we're not working in this plane of motion necessarily, and because of the arc of the way the rope will come up, just naturally it'll go forward, so that's okay. But as long as you're continuing to pull back as you go up. So what does this do for us? This is creating stability in the shoulder girdle. How many people come in to train who have a dysfunctional scapula? Pretty much everybody, right? Including myself. Like, we're all still working on this. And so it's good to have something that you can go back to that still has somebody work really hard, but forces them to actually control the scapula. So what's happening is as you pull, you're setting that scapula into a good position, and then as long as you continue to pull, it stays there. And so then you're limited by the stability in your shoulder. So I've seen people who are big, strong people who have to move really close on the rope because they haven't really created enough stability in their scapula yet. And then I have other people who maybe not be as strong, but they have great stability and they're able to work backwards on the rope. So it's really interesting to watch. So we're going to get in there. You guys can use this one too, because there's really not any reason you can't, because you can always move it as close as you need to. I will, however, let's pull that out and use the chair, because otherwise you won't feel quite the same thing. When it's elevated, then you're not really getting the same leverage pull as you are when it's on the floor. All right? So cycle through. Remember, hands shoulder height, out in front of you. Pull the rope off the ground, anchor the hips, and then press. So if you want, you guys, we can bring that one over here, and we can just leave pieces of it coiled behind, and we'll just pull out another chair. So if you want to bring that end down with you.
Are we going two at a time?
Yeah, go ahead. Yep, perfect. So just pull back. A lot harder than you expect it to be.
Yeah.
Yep, and so really watch this position. So just because we're pulling back doesn't mean you have to pull in. Think about opening and setting the shoulder girdle. Yes, and then press from there. There you go. And just make sure you're continuing to pull back and not lean back. If you're leaning back, you're not using your pull.
Got it.
Yep.
Yep, this is not easy.
All right. So you guys can jump on this one too. So put it just around one leg. Yep, perfect. There you go. And remember, if you start out and it feels really hard, you can move a little closer. But remember, okay, here's the setup. We don't start with the rope off the ground, or else you'll never get the feel for the rope. Okay, so stand back a little farther. Okay, ropes are on the floor, hands are at shoulder height but out front. Okay, shoulder height. There you go. So anchor your hips, pull the ropes to your shoulders. So take a quarter step backwards. Yep, and you should feel like it's pulling you forward. Push those elbows forward. Yep, continue to pull and then press from there. And if it's easy, you can always back up on that rope. So make sure that there's a pull at the beginning, right? So from right here, you should feel like you're pulling back. Yep, and make sure you're not leaning.
Yeah,
so anchor,
I feel like I'm leaning
so anchor the hips down under your shoulders and don't let them creep forward. Yep, but don't lean the whole body. So yeah. So start with the rope on the ground.
Okay.
Okay, hands at shoulder height. Okay, but rope's on the ground. There you go. But shoulder height. Yeah, so don't move your hand on the rope. Leave it here. There you go. So it's on the ground. Arms are out front. Good. So you're just standing. Okay. Don't lean. Anchor your hips. Okay. Now, without moving your body at all, just pull the rope back.
Okay.
Perfect. And then press overhead. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yep. And that's what, if you're in the right place, that's what you should feel.
Forward.
Right. And that's okay as long as you're
so-
still pulling
Right.
back. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys, we can also move that this way a lot more, and then I can help both of you a lot easier. So come back a little more. You're a little too close, too close. Keep coming, keep coming. You'll be okay. So, all right, so set the ribs. There you go. Okay, hands are shoulder height out in front.
Okay.
Anchor the hips, do like a mini squat.
Okay.
Pull back. No, don't lean that body. Pull with your strength. There.
Got it.
Okay, so keep that elbow forward, and then press from there. Yes. That's perfect. It's true, and but this is exactly why we haven't done a video on this, because when you watch somebody do this, you're like, okay. But then when you feel it, it's like, holy cow, this is incredible. Like, you would never expect this to feel this way.
I need to experience this after.
Yeah, you have to, for sure.
I don't even want to know what
In fact, Jen, yeah, because it totally takes you by surprise. Yeah, so ropes are on the ground. Yep, all the way on the ground, so touching the ground. There you go. Yep, perfect. So take a little step backwards, and then hands are at shoulder height out front. Perfect.
Front.
Yes.
More in front than I
Right, exactly. So now, set the ribs, anchor the hips. Good. And then pull. Good. Now watch those elbows. We want those elbows forward. Good. And then press overhead. Yes. Yep, so try moving back. And still set up the same way. Start with them on the ground. So no matter how long I've been doing this, I still always start with my ropes on the ground and pull into position. Yep. Yep, and even more forward than that probably. So take a quarter step backwards. That's like an eighth of a step. Take a little more. All right, go ahead and pull. Yep, and then pull, pull, pull. Good, watch those elbows. Elbows are gonna come forwards and out. There.
forward and out.
Yep. And then push from there. Good. And just watch that rib cage, right? Because as soon as we go overhead, we start to lose that position. Good. Yes, of course. Yeah. No, that's okay. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. And at the very start, you should feel like you're getting pulled forward. If you're not yet, so step back just a little bit more. Now pull harder, push the elbows forward. Elbows forward. Yep, so not the whole hand, but just the elbow. There, yep, and then you're gonna actively pull back without, so we don't wanna pull this way, we wanna pull this way. Okay. Yes. Now you feel like you're getting pulled forward? Yeah. Yep, and keep that elbow forward. Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Raise your core.
Yeah.
And pull it out a little bit towards you.
Yep,
There you go.
yep.
Now raise it.
Yeah, there you go. And here's the thing. So that was actually beautiful. So here's the thing. We don't have to go all the way up here to make use of this exercise. We can hold this position and still get a lot out of it. We can also just go to the top of the head and come back down. Because there's no reason we have to go through this full range of motion, because what are we really training? Stability of the scapula. So it doesn't stop here, you know, I mean, it works all the way through, but you're still gonna get a lot out of it, even just getting to here, if that's all you can do for right now. Because what you'll see is people start to come up, and then they lose position to try to go farther. So I would rather have them stay within a range that they can control and do well. Yeah, and so you just go as high as you can, but you're always pulling back on that rope. And the closer you get to the attachment point, the more that rope tends to travel forward, just because it's a shorter arc, right? When we're farther back, it's a longer arc, so it's a more gradual curve, so you don't notice it quite as much. All right, so Jen, you're gonna do, yeah, perfect. And when you get over here, we're gonna do side presses. What? That's for missing us when we came to Minnesota. Yeah, so on the floor, hands out front, right? Anchor here, anchor the hips. And then pull the rope off the ground, keeping, hold on, nope, don't lift the arm, keeping the elbow forward. So it's sort of like this pull, and then push up from there. And a single arm push is easier than a double arm push. There you go. That's it. All right, so Jen's going to side press. So here's the beautiful part about this segment of ropes. You can do just about any exercise for upper body that you would do with dumbbells, you can do on the rope, okay? You can fly, you can do core work, there's all kinds of things. This is one of my favorite exercises. We're going to do a side press. So she's going to kneel. Actually, we'll face that way. So kneel on the ground. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. She's going to grab her close rope with her close hand, her far rope with her far hand, but enough off to the side so the ropes are on the ground with your hands, again, at shoulder height, because you're going to be pulling into a pressing position. So, yep, so just kind of work it out. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. So you're going to start with this one here and this one here. Good. So hands at shoulder height. She's going to pull into pressing position, which now what is that working? Anti-lateral flexion, right? So now we're adding a whole core component to it, and then she's going to try to maintain and press overhead. So we have one arm pulling toward the midline, one arm pulling away from the midline. You're going to be limited by this outside arm. And obviously we would then turn and face the other way and do the same thing, right? Because then it's different. Close hand, yep. And the only reason, there's not like a scientific reason behind that. It's only that if you grab the far rope with your closed hand, other one's just going to be in front of your face. That's all. There you go.
I don't even need to move.
That's right. Just lock down. But so this is side pressing. So there's, yeah, I mean it's incredible. But again, like you have to try it to really have any appreciation for it. If you watch someone do it, you're like, yeah, okay, great, good job. Right? So it's cool stuff. You can lie on your back. Can I have one more person? Come on over. You're going to lie on your back. Put your head about here and your feet that way. So you're going to grab the rope and bring it overhead. And you want to be in a position where when you pull, the ropes are kind of over your chest. So kind of pull hard. Yep, so right there. And then pull down toward your feet. Perfect. Now, bring your feet all the way up in the air. Yep. So she can continue to pull and then lower the feet as far as you can go without that back arching. And then back up. So it accentuates the work done in your core. Right? And then go ahead and bend your knees. Put your feet flat. The other one, I'll make her do two. So she's going to pull that same way, and she can do a fly. So she's going to open to the ground and bring it back up. And the whole time she's trying to pull those ropes down toward her hips. So I mean, this whole rope might be 20 pounds, but it can feel a heck of a lot heavier. So it makes it a very safe way to do overhead work with somebody. It makes it a very safe way to increase stability and strength and transfer into all kinds of other stuff. And it goes back to that whole connection and control that we're trying to work on anyway. Cool? Questions? Awesome. All right, so much fun. All right, so let's get the ropes out of the way. We can move the chair, and let's start working towards some hand balancing. Yeah, we'll just move it kind of. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll put it over here. All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're all going to start down on this end, right down here. You can make one line and then filter into probably 3 as we go across. So start over there. This is one of the first things that I use to get people to start to feel the weight of your body in your hands. Okay? So what you guys will do is as you come through, we'll go 1, 2, 3 lines, and you'll just kind of filter behind them. Make sense? Cool. So what you're going to do is called an ape walk or a gorilla walk. So you're trying to transfer weight from your feet to your hands. Okay? What you'll do is you'll place your right hand in front of your left foot. Other hand goes next to it, and you're trying to get your feet across so that my other foot goes now in front of the other hand, okay? So the easiest way to do it is jumping, which is probably what you'll feel like you're doing in the beginning. So it's a lot of this, right? But eventually, and that still gets some weight in your hands, which is a great way to start. Eventually, we want to do it where we're pushing into the ground enough that you're lifting yourself off the ground and placing yourself back on the ground. So that's what we're going to go for, right? So from here, shift, lift, and down. Okay? So go ahead and come through, and let's do a few facing one direction, turn around and do a few facing the other direction. So let's face me first, and then like when you get about halfway down, you can turn and face the other way. Okay? So right hand goes in front, or excuse me, left hand goes in front of your right foot, and try to bring yourself across. And the lighter you can land, the more control you have in the shoulders. You got it. Yep. Yeah, I mean, you can come up, it doesn't matter. You can stay down, whatever feels better for you. So, yep, put the hand in front of the foot, there you go. You got it. So you guys can just kind of keep filtering through. And when you're done, you can just kind of hang here, because we're only going to go through once. All right, there you go. Yeah, so, oh, yeah, right, yeah, that's fine. Perfect. All right, so guys, while they're going, what I want to talk about, because I know we're running out of time and I want to get to at least 2 more things. So we're going to do L-sits and we're going to do handstand work, okay? The L-sit versions that I'm going to show you, the way we start, my 80-year-olds do these. So these are something anybody can do, guaranteed, okay? So, but there's a progression for everybody, right? So we can make it challenging enough for my highest level people or easy enough for my lower level people. And then we're going to do some handstand work. To talk about handstand work, and I say handstand in quotes, because for me, a handstand is any time that we're on our hands and we're in an open line, one straight line from my hand to my hip. So a down dog is a handstand. So that's where we start, okay? So we will work through that. I had a lot of people in here today. This is good stuff. So let's do this. After you've been through, find an open space, and let's go through our down dog handstand stuff first. So what you're going to do is find your down dog position. And you guys can finish, that's fine, we'll wait for you. So in your down dog position, your hands are on the floor, your feet are on the floor. Doesn't matter totally how far they are apart. Doesn't matter if your heels are down, they can come up, okay? Here's what I want you to think about. I want you to push through your hand in the direction of your hip. We're not trying to dive our head toward our knees, but we're trying to open the shoulder and push. Instead of pushing this way, I want to push this way, okay? Does that make sense? Yes. So we're going to push. Push in the line of your torso. Do not try to push your head towards your knees. Try to push in the angle that your torso is sitting. So we're going to drop the head. We want to open the shoulders. And then we're going to push this direction. When you do it right, you should feel like you're starting to connect from the floor to the hips. So a little less this way, a little more this way. Yes? Now, in that position, here's the next thing you are required to do before I let you take the next progression. You're going to push into one hand harder than the other one. As long as that feels okay, you're going to then pick up the opposite hand and touch your shoulder. So if I push my right hand into the floor, I should be able to touch my left shoulder, come back down. I should see no movement in the rest of your body, and I should not see your shoulder angle close. So let's take a little bit of weight out of your feet. So walk your feet back here. Yep, there you go. And so all I want, so don't go this way so much, go this way. That's where we want to be. Much more solid. Awesome. Okay, so what's the next progression from there? In my gym, you have to graduate. So if you can do that, then you can graduate. Okay, so the next step is putting your feet on a box, right? So if my feet are on a box, and I'm also in that down dog position, I'm getting closer and closer and closer to being completely vertical, okay? So that's where we go from there, okay? I'll give you, hopefully you can play with that just a little bit. I know they're gonna be sneaking in here really quick. So the other thing I wanna show you are the L-sits. So what we have, I brought boxes up for you guys. So the boxes, you wanna just have two of the same. So here's what you're going to do. And you can have one person on that side, one person on that side if you like. You can put them as far as close as you like. So here's my version of an L-sit. My 80-year-old can do this, right? So she's going to allow herself to sink a little bit first and then engage the shoulders. I'm not letting my hips move. I'm keeping my torso completely upright. I'm not letting my shoulders go this way, and I'm not letting them go back. I'm trying to keep them open and solid. From here, I start to march, right? And instead of trying to come all the way off the floor, I want to put my heels here so that I can maintain my position instead of going to this position. I'm trying to create good, solid, strong shoulder girdle. The only way I can do that is if I can maintain that position, okay? So if you guys want to pull boxes out, there's 3 heights of boxes. You can have one person on each side going at a time, so you can play with that. So let's pull them out so there's a little bit of room. And in the meantime, if you guys want to play with any of the handstand stuff, you can certainly do that. You might be able to stick your feet on a tire or something. Yeah, I mean, chair or a tire, as long as someone's holding on to it.
Tips for progressing into press?
Oh, yes. And actually, I was hoping to get to that. But yes, I will show you. Yeah, so push, push, push. And so when we can hold, but see, this is the problem. So I don't want to go to a total hold yet. Put one heel against one box, one heel against the other box, and then try to get rid of that flatten, flatten, flatten. So push and open and set, right? So we're trying to create a more solid shoulder girdle instead of one that's collapsing on itself, right? Then we can progress to much more advanced exercises. So we're always pushing down, opening the chest. Yep. And so anybody can find a level in here where they can work, right? Good. But then where are our shoulders? See how that's creeping out a little bit? So use the box. Put one heel in one box, bring the hips forward, and then we can create a little bit more solidity back here. So we want to pull that down and together, open and be solid. Yep.
Ingrid,
yeah.
the way to get stronger in that position to hold it, like
yep.
to keep
Yeah.
holding it.
Yeah. So the way that I use this, guys, so if I have a more advanced person, this is part of their warm-up. They might do 3 to 5 sets of 15 to 20 second holds, right? And with plenty of breaks in between. If this is a beginning person, this is part of their workout. This is their pushing movement for the day, potentially, right? So there's lots of ways to bring this in. There you go. Yeah. So you can also use these if you guys want to start doing some inversion work, some handstands. You can use these with your feet. You can find that inversion position. But before we go anywhere, we want to get rid of this. So if I can grab your shoulder blade, then your shoulder is not stable. We want that shoulder, and part of it is because we're here. So put your feet back on the ground. There you go. And you feel where you go. Now stay there. Push down through the shoulders. Don't squeeze. Don't squeeze. Stay open. So think open this way in the chest. Yep. And push down. Keep this down. And then try to hold, because that's a better position. We still want to build that up a little more. Yeah. Good. And so bring those hips forward. Use the box to bring the hips forward, but keep this together. So, right? There it is. So that's better. And you feel the difference how when you don't have the box, the hips creep backwards and then we lose that position in the shoulders. And we're not ready for that. Yeah, so it's keeping this engaged and being able to maintain that position. Anyone ready for handstand work? All right, pick a box. So you're just gonna walk your feet up, doesn't matter which box you're on, and it does not have to be vertical. You can be out as long as you're in a straight line from hands to hips. And then before you can progress, you have to be able to touch your shoulders without too much movement in the body. So we start by just pushing, and the way you lift your hand is by pushing one hand into the ground. Okay, but what we need is, yes, tuck your chin just a little bit, and then push, 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 push. That's your movement position. Much better. There you go. So we're going to lift, that's better, and then push that direction in one shoulder. Yes, much better. Yep, so we're going to tuck, lift, and push that direction. And then push into the ground with one hand and touch the same shoulder with the other hand. Yeah. There you go. Good. So when people are interested in handstand walking and balancing in a freestanding handstand, if they can't get here and do this, we're not ready to do any of that stuff yet. And that's why they don't have control. That's why they say, oh, I've been doing handstands for a year and I still can't hold a handstand. If they haven't created the foundation in the shoulders to be able to control, you'll never be able to hold that handstand. But if you create that through some of this work, you'll be really surprised at how quickly you can progress. So anyway, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.